If you tell me you've got a desire, I'm all in. Do you want to grow?
Absolutely.
Take notes and make sure it improves your business. Everybody wants to grow. You deserve to grow.
You don't pitch to investors to try your luck. You pitch to investors to win.
If it's not challenging, I don't think it's worth it.
The right advice to give in business is validate the idea first.
Most of you out there who want to grow, your issue is just starting, isn't it?
It's important that people just follow what they want to do.
It's an opportunity of a lifetime for all of us.
The podcast is not about them growing, it's about them helping others grow. Hello and welcome to I Want to Grow. And I Want to Grow, as you hear me every single week, I Want to Grow is about people wanting to do just that. But our guests are a little bit different, just like you. It's all about them helping others. Okay, those are the types of things that our guests are doing. They're going out there and they're doing those things for other people. So, Elsadig, thank you so much for coming on our show today. It's a real honor. And we met the other day, right? We met at Startup Grind, and it was great meeting you.
True. Thank you so much for hosting me.
Oh,
today.
please.
It's an honor.
You were just something else. When I started speaking to you and you started telling me this story, I thought to myself, you've just got to come on the podcast. So come on, tell us your full name and tell us where you come from and what you do.
Okay. Elsadig Hashim, Business and Enterprise Development Officer at the United Nations Industrial Development Organization, which is basically responsible for the entrepreneurship activities at the United Nations Industrial Development Organization. And what I basically do, I'm responsible for incubation, following up on incubation acceleration programs. All my experiences was revolving around that. I have 3 years of experience working with startups, SMEs in Sudan. And long before, during these 3 years, I was responsible for the Orange Corners incubation program, which is the biggest incubation in Sudan, which basically focuses on tech startups. Then when I went to the UN, I was focusing more on SMEs, small businesses who want to grow.
But you're a young man, okay? Tell us, let's go back before then. Where did you get this love from? What was it the first thing that got you involved in innovation and wanted to get involved in startups and small and medium-sized businesses?
Well, my original background is in engineering. I studied civil engineering. During my study, I kind of noticed that most of students, most of people who graduate are complaining about not finding a job in the market. But then when you go to LinkedIn, you find that there's jobs, but they're not actually the same field that the person want to, or not the same, how would I call it, this person is not skilled enough to qualify for this job. And he doesn't know from where to start. So we had this initiative in university where we share experiences from a person who got employed or found a unique business opportunity or started a business or started a social enterprise. And we connect him with this person who want to do the same. So we kind of like act like a point where we share experiences from a person who's experienced to someone who's not experienced, okay? And then we started something called mentorship programs.
Okay.
And this is like a designed big program, like a 6-month program where we match mentors with mentees. Mentors are people who are more experienced, have experience in the field. And we have the mentees for people who are students, who are looking to learn, are looking to understand more about the job market or the ecosystem in terms of either working in terms of in the private or starting a business or working in terms of how we call it, civil society, okay? And we designed it based on 3 main areas, working on developing the knowledge side or the cognitive side of the person, and then the personality traits, and then starts the career traits of the person, like to give them skills, transferable skills, and to also give them the way of how to know, how to think, how to solve problems, how to solve issues properly, okay? And then I applied for a program which was a scholarship from the U.S. State Department. It's called SUSI, Study of the U.S. Institute, which was 5 weeks in the United States, focusing on social entrepreneurship. This is where I learned more about entrepreneurship, social businesses, and it gave me a lot of knowledge. How do you call it? It pushed me a lot. And then this is what the moment when I realized that I'm not going to be a civil engineer anymore. But I took a lot from studying civil engineering. Engineering gives you a lot in terms of analytical problem solving, everything.
Whoa, yes.
Yeah.
And project manage, right?
Yes.
Dear me, my business partner's an engineer, and he is just so precise, and he wants to make sure that everything is correct.
That's me.
Really?
Yeah.
So what did you went into this engineering, your family, what did your family say?
No, they didn't. My family is totally supportive. They didn't question my decision at all. So I kind of sometimes I question myself, are you okay with me doing all of this? And they be like, it's your choice. It's your problem at the end. So yeah, I had a supportive family.
And I want to ask this, what did your father do?
My father used to be a businessman from one business to another. And now has his own farm in the northern states. Okay, the northern state. Okay. So yeah, he's a business. I would call it small businessman.
Okay, but he's a small businessman, and then all of a sudden he goes into farming.
Yeah.
What a transformation that is.
Maybe because his father and his ancestors are all farmers.
Okay.
So it was easy for him. He had the land, he had everything. He just needed to prioritize farming for him, farming as a life business for him.
And is it something that you want to do at one stage? You want to become a farmer?
No.
Listen, you can become the business side of things, and you can go in there and help with the
Exactly.
operational
This is
side
what I
of
want.
things. Yeah.
My father is a businessman, but he's a traditional businessman. He never been to, how would I call it, a training about business. And he's doing well, but he can do better. I always tell him, you can do better.
We were helping, in the very beginning, we were helping a startup that was going to Sudan because you've got the same river in the water as the Nile, and then you've got Egypt the other side.
Yes.
And the cotton, so everybody says the best cotton in the world is Egyptian cotton. But you got the same
Cotton. Exactly.
Virtually the same cotton. And it was always that one of our first companies that we helped going back nearly 14 years ago was a company that wanted to go to Sudan and to help with the cotton process, because it was all done by hand, and they wanted to make it sure that they could get a bit more industrial. They were going to get tractors with satellite navigation where they could go in and they can do this. And there was a honey beetle that got into the crop sometimes, and they had to get rid of it because otherwise it would ruin the whole crop. So I was so interested with this in Sudan. But this is a big thing, cotton, over there, right?
Yeah, very big, especially in the Jazeera state. I don't know if you ever heard about the Jazeera project, which is something big. But now it needs a lot of work, needs a lot of rehabilitation, but it's still helping people, small help, how would I call it?
Yeah.
Not the best, but it's still.
Yeah, it's a start. It's just, you build from. Okay, let's get back to your story. You kind of, your dad's a businessman, now he's going into farming. Do you think you get a lot of traits from him? Do you think that there's a lot of stuff that you've got from him, his genes, and the way that he's working? Because he must be working hard.
Well, yes. I would say that I've got a lot, but I have a lot of traits that is somehow unique. He always keep telling me this. You're way different from me, but it's still, you have my genes, but you're still different from me.
I saw you from the very beginning of meeting you, and you have something. I don't know what it is, but there's something about you that I think people take to you. Great guy. And your experiences, which we're going to delve into now, is going to be really, really great for people to listen to. So, Sudan, okay, it's troublesome right now. There's a few problems there. It can't be easy. How does that correlate to what you're doing? That must be quite difficult to kind of encourage people to get into entrepreneurship. Is that a factor that people less and less people are getting into this entrepreneurship, or do you find it the opposite, that everybody wants to get into it?
Well, totally the opposite. Everyone wants to get into it, and especially because when the war happened, businesses shut down. Businesses couldn't afford to pay their employees their salaries. Some businesses went out of business. A big corporation was like, we're kind of, hello everyone, we're letting you all go. Okay, we're giving all the businesses in Sudan. We're giving up. We gave up. Okay, so all of these people are now unemployed. So a part goes outside Sudan, seeking for jobs outside Sudan, formal jobs. But some of them stays in Sudan, waiting for the war to stop, and so on. So they kind of consume all the savings, and then they start their own businesses. Okay, this is a part. And also looking at the entrepreneurial side, where the small business and startups, these people have been working on it long before 2018. And there have been a lot of effort from the government before 2018. But then from 2019, things went like a roller coaster. Ups and down, ups and down. Revolution happened. During the revolution, a lot of things happened to the economy. And then from the revolution, a new government has been formed. A lot of promises have been made. And then COVID happened. Okay.
Oh, my word.
Then after COVID, okay, things are going, business is booming. A lot of government contracts, a lot of things is happening. And then a coup happened in 2021. I don't know if you heard about it.
Yeah.
Okay. From the coup, a new government has been formed again. And new policies has been set. A lot of things happened to the economy. We had a whole recession just in Sudan in 2022. And then in 2023, we get the war. Can you imagine? I know people who are still operating from 2018 until now. They're still fighting. They're still doing their best.
Yeah.
Okay. With the support of Entrepreneurship Organization, support of how we call it, international development agencies. All of this support is like small support in terms of what these entrepreneurs are currently doing.
You look at it, and sometimes we only see it in the news with the UN, sometimes in United Nations. Sometimes we don't realize just what great job they do.
True.
It's like you work with the UN with this innovation side of things in SMEs. That must be the lifeblood for this innovation and getting people back on the road again.
Yes, but you know what's actually funny? What makes people innovative, or what helps them to innovate and bring the new business ideas, is all these problems in Sudan. So they tell you, if you want to start a business, or you want to find an innovation, a new idea, or to bring solution to life, just look for the problem. Okay, look for the problem and create a business from it. But imagine a country with 45 million people, okay, is facing a lot of problems.
45 million.
45 million, okay. So imagine starting a business in this country. Wherever problem you might find, you can start a business from it. For example, I know someone. I was talking to this entrepreneur. She was a teacher at a training center that teach languages, okay. And when COVID happened, she was like, everything is closed, training centers are closed. She was like, why not start an e-learning platform that gives the same classroom experience? And she started a business called MangoGate, okay? And she enrolled in Orange Corner's incubation program. And she did well in terms of her business. She did very well. She's still fighting to get her business back on ground. She's doing, can you imagine, just from COVID, which is something affected everyone, like globally.
Yeah.
Okay? She found a business from it. Okay.
Yeah.
And there's a lot of other entrepreneurs that do the same. Yes.
With this whole thing happening in the job that you do, okay, is it a little overwhelming? How do you kind of keep focus with everybody that wants to get involved with this? It must be kind of, which way do you turn? Or are you quite focused on how you help and how you kind of do things for people over there?
Yes. You have to give a lot of time to the work that I do. Not just me, all of these people who are working in this entrepreneurship ecosystem in Sudan. So I'm speaking here about there's support organizations that are doing well, not doing well, like they're doing their best to revive this ecosystem. And they tell you entrepreneurship ecosystem is a mix of 6 factors: the policy, the human capital, and the financial institution, and the startups support. But in Sudan, it's like we have other 2 actors. One of them is the development agencies. Okay, they play a huge role in this ecosystem. Okay, and then there's another role is for the private sector companies. They're also trying their best to help this ecosystem to grow. Okay.
Which is the most important one?
Yes, exactly.
Which one?
Which is the most?
Which is
from
the
the
most?
6 actors?
Yeah.
From all of these actors?
Yeah.
This is a tough question. All of them are important. This is why they're called actors.
But
The most is the policy. I would say the policy,
we were
the governance.
We were at the startup grind, and the question was put, what is the government going to do about it? And here in Qatar, but actually it's not just down to the government, it's everybody taking a part. We've all got a role to play, and the more we put in, the more we'll see the results, right?
True.
And there isn't one specific, it's like, I try and use this. When you look at a website, what is the most important factor? The development, the search engine optimization, the content, all those things that you need to take into consideration.
Exactly.
Which is the most important. And ultimately, everything's important. Without one, you haven't got the other.
True.
That's the main thing. So you said it's down to everybody. When you look at the private sector, okay, you could quite easily look up and say, well, they've got to focus on their game. They've got to focus on there, but they're putting so much back into the ecosystem. Is it something that they really get involved with?
Yes. Especially they started working in terms of CSR, corporate social responsibility. How do they help these startups? So these startups, sometimes they provide human-centered solution, social and environmental. So the corporate social responsibility department in these companies try to support them to implement these projects or activities that they want to implement. And this acts like a cash flow for these startups to survive until they find a proper investment.
So that was one of the things I was going to say. Who is investing? Who's investing? Who's the one that puts their hands in the pockets and puts it down on the table? Because that must be quite daunting for any startups, right?
Yes, but in Sudan, investment scene just started to grow. How would I call it? Recently, in the past 2 years. But long before that, if you wanted investment, we have these people in the market who have a lot of money, a lot. And you just go for them and ask them for like $50,000 to validate your product or service. And they be like, I will take 50% equity of this business.
That's a lot.
That's a lot. If
Yeah.
you ask them for $5,000, they will still ask you for 50%. Okay, whatever amount you're going to ask them, they will ask you for half of the business. And then, you know what's happened when you give half the business for these investors. You grow, the business starts to boom, and then you will need another form of investment.
Yeah.
But then you cannot give it from the investor equity. You'll give it from yours. And then at one point, the founder have like 20%. He will not have the motivation to still...
That's an issue.
Yeah, it's a big issue. It's happened in Sudan. But recently, in the past 3-4 years, the ecosystem Entrepreneurship Support Organization, they're doing their best to connect investors, especially Sudanese investors who are living outside Sudan, people who work in VCs, angel investors. So they're trying to do a lot of effort to support these entrepreneurs from these investors, try to get money from Sudanese people who are working outside Sudan. They started a network called Sudan Angel Investors Network.
Yeah.
Okay, and they're doing a lot of support for startups in Sudan. So yeah, this is one of the things that happened in Sudan. But every time it gets affected by something. For example, one startup, fintech startup, got an investment of $5 million right before the coup. Can you imagine? And they're still fighting. They're currently still fighting. Even until this point, the coup I'm speaking about 2021, long before that, they got $5 million. And They still didn't get any dollars from the fund, and the coup happened. But the investors believed in them, okay, and still continued to continue to the startup and everything. They could have just said, no, we want to cancel the investment, the whole, or everything. But they know there's a huge business opportunity in the country.
Huge.
Very huge, very big, okay?
Yeah.
And they believed in these entrepreneurs to get, to grow this startup.
What gets you up in the morning? What gets you motivated? What is it, what the job that you do, what excites you the most?
I think maybe an effort that I can do might support someone. It's something also helps me to wake up in the morning, because all my work focuses on startups funding, supporting entrepreneurs, supporting one of the things that I do also supporting vocational training, training students in Sudan. It was something that's really motivated me, because these people that that for a fact this training or this funding or this a small amount of support can help them to grow internally or externally in terms of finance or anything.
You say earned internally. What do you mean by internally?
Self-growth, okay? I've been working at the UN. One of our projects used to focus on vocational training. We used to train, how would I call them? Refugees, people from South Sudan, people from neighboring countries who came to Sudan seeking refuge from a war, from something. And then we also have internally displaced people who came from inside Sudan, from a war or something. We had conflicts that happened, let's say in the border or something. They come to the capital seeking for support. So we enroll them in our vocational programs. They get technical training, and they also get entrepreneurship support, entrepreneurship training to kick off if they want to start a business or if they want to work in a private sector companies and so on. But they come with, how would I call it? Nothing. They never did had any experience with any vocational skill. Someone who never been an electrician, but he just enrolled in electricity course, or never been a welder or anything, and they enroll in the courses, okay? And you see the course, and you see yourself, and you see everyone other than who studied, how would I call it, academic education, and they'll be looking at the vocational education as something. I'm not going to do that. It's way below. But when you see the support, when you see the happiness of these people who came from the war, who came from whatever place they come from, they're so happy. They're not happy because they're happy because they can finally generate income with this skill or this, how to call it, this skill. And when you give them financing solutions and you tell them about microfinance and how to access it, they be so excited to get access to this microfinance to start their own businesses. Okay, so this is also something, but internally, these people feel so fulfilled about just the idea, but now they can do something. They can do something.
What's the most important thing? Is it? And I'm trying to put words into your mouth now, but that inner
grit, the grit,
the grit.
Yes.
How important is it to have that, especially in the conditions that you're sometimes working?
Very important. It actually grows more and more with the overall situation that happens, that's happening in Sudan. Because, when you're facing a lot of problems, when you're not very privileged, you have the reason, you have to survive. The survival instinct that grows inside you, support the grit to grow. You have to grow, you have to do something. You have to find a job, you have to work, okay? Because if you're not working, you will not die hungry in Sudan. Also, one of the things that's in Sudan, we have this comfort zone. You can never die hungry from Sudan.
I don't know much about Sudan, okay? And all I know is that there's problems there, right? But one thing I'm picking up from you right now is even if there's fighting, I would be quite proud of what things are going on there.
True.
It seems like everybody seems to be pulling. Okay, there's fighting going on, but it seems like you're all pulling together and you're all trying to get over these issues and make the best of what you've got.
True, especially the entrepreneurs. And like in terms of community, when the war happened, people had to flee the capital and go to other states. But I lived all my life in the capital. So when the war happened, we had to go to the northern state. We've been hosted like guests. We've been fed. We've been everything. We never complained from anything. Okay, and when you see the support that these people are providing for each other, the Sudanese people are providing for each other, you'll be so, how would I call it? You'll be so proud of being Sudanese person.
I must admit, I'm getting that from you. I'm feeling quite proud for you, because this is what I love. I love when I said to you, and I was pointing, getting deeper to say what's important. I think it is important that you can get that person right first. You get the mental strength. You get those things that you give them belief.
Yes.
If you give them belief and then you educate and then you show the way and you give them experience, all of a sudden magic things start happening, right? So when I'm listening to these stories and there's people like you there, oh my word, this is impressive. What is it like to see somebody that's come and they've got nothing? They don't know which way to turn, and you've seen their progress to actually then making something for themselves. That must be pretty impressive. Have you got an experience with that, seeing those things happen?
Yeah, actually, when I came to the UN project, I came, how I call it, in the last year of the project, and I saw a training of 2 batches. Out of these batches, and after the training finished, we organized something called the job fair, vocational job fair. We provided private sector companies and have them to make exhibition about these companies, to speak about themselves for these graduates, to speak about how there's an actual company that can hire you in the market. Most of these people are unprivileged who do not know anything about these companies. So we brought the companies, and I was working on the job fair. I was like overseeing the logistics, supervising things, coordinating, and then one of the students came to me, hi, Mr. Elsadig, how are you? I got a job here. I'm so happy. I stopped. I was like, I got paralyzed for a moment, and somehow you see your efforts put into place. You see something that happened. Actually, the effort that you've been doing take place, and you see the result of the effort that you're doing. So yeah.
No, it must be a special feeling.
Very.
Yeah, and the one of those is with the knowledge. Okay, you said about the mentors in Sudan. Okay, there must be a lot of mentors. How do all this knowledge sharing? Who's the ones that are imparting this knowledge to for people? Is there a big there must be an army of people becoming mentors?
Not an army, because we're very selective in terms of selecting the mentors. Everyone can be a mentor.
But they must be really busy then.
Okay, they're busy, but they still want to give back to the community.
Whoa.
Okay.
Yeah.
So the idea of Elsadig, I still want to give back to the community. We're speaking here about mentor. We're not speaking about, we took the role of hybrid mentorship. So they get to meet either online or offline. We had mentors who are studying outside Sudan, doing their studies, their masters outside Sudan or anything. Okay. We have mentors who went to outside Sudan. They did their masters in the UK, and then they came back. Okay, and they want to give back to the community.
Whoa.
Okay? So this is also something we try to be very selective in terms of our mentors.
But with the situation, it's I'm not saying that you haven't got electricity or those kind of things, but I'm thinking if there's a war going on, there must be a restriction of different kind of amenities.
Yes, actually, all our mentorship activities are on hold right now. So we didn't, but still, in terms of, I know that we didn't do any mentorship activities in the UN, but in the other side, the mentorship activities in the Sudanese Mentoring Center are on hold currently. It's been on hold since 2022, and yeah, they're currently on hold. But still, even during this difficult time, communication is being eased also through texting, through phone calls, through international calls. For example, sometimes I have to put credit into my phone to call my colleague in Sudan, in one of the western states in Sudan. to just make sure that he's all right, and he's coming to Kasala or anything to coordinate things between each other.
There's so much camaraderie. It must be an amazing feeling that everybody's in this together.
Exactly.
Whoa. I got to say, I love it. What are you doing in Qatar?
Well, I'm scoping, looking to see the ecosystem here. I want to understand a lot. And so far, I'm so surprised. There's a huge effort has been done from the government, from all actors. And you see the financial center. And you see when I went to Startup Grind, I was like just networking, getting to know people. And you find there's a lot of business opportunity. There is a lot of people who are starting businesses.
Yep.
Very innovative. There is the infrastructure. There's everything. And I really liked. I'm still impressed. I'm still getting to know the country. I'm still getting to know what's happening in terms of the ecosystem, the investment. And yeah, this is what I'm looking for.
I must admit, you were just, I saw you at the event and you were just asking so many people different questions and you were finding out from, that's the best way of doing it, because that's the only way that you're going to grow.
True. That's true. If you do, you need to learn from other people's experiences, actually, because you're not going to learn on your own. This is something also I'm speaking here to say for all people, like creating things from your own. Yes, you can do it, but it will be challenging for you. It will take time. But if you ask the right people, how did they do it? You just understand the way things are going outside, then you'll be more, agile in terms of doing things, either in your startups, in terms of in your job.
I love the words you're using today, your keywords that you're using, agile. It's kind of camaraderie. There's just so many that you're using today that oh my word, I want to go to Sudan and kind of get involved with this ecosystem because it sounds amazing. What's your hopes for the future? What are those hopes that you hope will be?
For Sudan?
Yeah.
I hope the war stops soon, because there is a lot of effort is on hold. A lot of things are on hold, just waiting for the war to stop. And I believe Sudan has a strategic location in terms of geographically,
yeah,
and it will actor in the whole continent in Africa.
I think,
and I have a lot of hopes in Sudan.
Yeah, listen, I think the way that everybody's going to pull together, I think it's going to be, once they get over this conflict type thing, that things seem like it's going to be unbelievable the way that people are going to come together, and especially after hardships, right? That's what you like. With you as an individual, what are you going to try and do in these next few years?
Tough question. I look to extend my support to these entrepreneurs, but I'm also look to get support for myself. So I'm looking to get a master's in the UK, doing my either MBA or entrepreneurship, entrepreneurship MSc, and then work as a consultant for startups, working in terms of consulting for startup and venture capital and so on.
Yeah. Can you wait? I bet you can't wait to get back to Sudan.
I cannot wait to get back to Sudan. Yeah.
Yeah. Work to do, huh?
A lot.
Let me tell you, Elsadig, this has been an amazing podcast today. And I'm so glad that there's people like you out in this world. Because with people like you and all the other people that you're talking about today, this world's a better place. And we need people like you. This world needs people like you. I'm so glad that you came on and shared some of your experiences with me today. It was fantastic. Thank you so much indeed.
Thank you so much, Steve. Thank you so much for hosting me today.
I knew the day that I met you that this was going to be a great podcast, and to be quite honest with you, it was better than I anticipated. I think it's going to let people know exactly the determination and what it takes to really keep going, that true grit, right?
Yes.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Thank you so much. Everybody, if there's one message today, is anybody can do it. Okay, sometimes we're not listening. Sometimes it's right in front of our face. Okay, sometimes there's going to be hardship. Sometimes there's going to be difficulties. But whatever they come, as you said, there's people out there with the difficulties that you can't imagine. But if you only have that true grit, you can achieve anything. This is what we say every single week. Whatever you think, just get over it and go and do what you want to do. Go and strive for that better life. It's okay to want to say it out loud. Go and strive for something that you want, okay? Because anybody can get it. All you've got to do is put that determination and hard work in. Because there's always going to be people like Elsadig, okay? There's always going to be people out there that's going to give you the support and give you that help, okay? So everybody just go and do that, okay? This is what this podcast is all about. It's all about what other people are doing about making sure that other people can grow. You can grow. Anyway, thanks very much for this week. Bye for now.